And I've witnessed you say in front of men that you're really grateful for your heart attack. And in light of who you are now and who you are becoming, you wouldn't change anything. And it's one of the best things that ever happened to you. And I'm thinking, wow, this is such a story of from pain to purpose.
And then I had this burning desire deep within me, Craig, to want to change, to want to be a much better father, to be a much better partner, and just to be a better man.
Yeah.
Like, I felt that the way that I had lived my life up to that point was so wholly out of alignment with who I truly was, with my authentic self, with my higher values. But I didn't even know what the hell that word meant, mate. You know, we hear about these things when we're growing up, but there was no association or attachment to any belief system or moral compass, especially through the culture that I was brought up through and with, right?
Yeah. Welcome to the Dare to Be Different podcast, where I interview inspirational leaders who've been on a journey of transformation. Today, I'm here with Rhys Thomas, a man who I respect greatly. Rhys is a former elite professional rugby player, and now he's a breathwork facilitator and a coach. And the reason I want to interview Rhys today is because for me, this man is living proof that as men in the world, we can transform and we can change our behavior and let go of some of the toxic behaviors that we may have picked up growing up as kids. Rhys, it's so good to get you on this sofa on my fourth podcast. What are you checking in with, bro?
Just excited, brother. Excited and grounded, feeling nice and grounded today.
Nice, mate.
Yeah.
Well, I'm checking in with excitement.
Yeah.
And a little bit of nerves because we're going into the unknown here and who knows where it's going to go and what could happen. And as we both have learned over the last few years, that's okay.
Yeah.
We can hold it.
Yeah.
It's okay to be nervous. It's okay to be excited. So, Rhys, I am interested in how your life has been shaped from the day you were born, but what I'm more interested in, and where I think the juice lies in your life, in your story, is how you've transformed yourself from the day you retired as a professional rugby player to where you are now in your life and how you look at life and how you show up in the world. So we'll obviously at some point delve back into childhood and rugby and stuff like that and rugby experiences and highs and lows. But how old were you when you retired from rugby and what was it like to retire from rugby?
I was 29. I was training I was in the gym and I had a heart attack. I had a huge heart attack and that was it.
Yeah.
Career came to a crashing end. That was I believe it was the 26th of January, 2012. And that began a very painful, interesting journey of about 7 years until I managed to shift my perception.
So you're 29.
Yeah.
Was you playing for the Dragons then, or Scarlets?
I was at the Scarlets.
You're at the Scarlets.
Yeah.
You're still in and out of the Welsh setup.
Yeah.
You're still young as a prop. You could have played till you were 36, 37. And you've had this incredible shock, heart attack in the gym.
Yeah.
Wow. What happened then?
Well, I was very lucky to survive, actually, mate. You know, I got rushed to the hospital, and I had a quadruple bypass, and it was bad. I was in a real terrible state of health. My heart, pretty much half of the heart had died during the heart attack. I had a quadruple bypass, and then when I came round, which took about a week, it was a real savage operation. I lost a lot of the organ in the heart attack. And I wasn't actually allowed to sit up post-op for a week. I had to lie on my back just because I had this like balloon inserted next to the heart to take the pressure off. So that was incredibly challenging and disorientating and confusing and scary, And but when I did wake up and kind of come to, and the drugs kind of wore off, I then was just kind of sent home and left to my own devices, and that's when it really hit home. Then that I wasn't very well. I could hardly walk 5 meters without being completely out of breath. And I couldn't even get up the staircase to my bedroom. It would take me, I'd have to stop on 3-4 steps, sit down. I was completely out of breath. And then, I navigated that physical battle, because at that point it was just a fight for life, right? It was a survival, just getting through every minute. And then as the days kind of went past, as I kind of found my equilibrium, then it was more about the mental side started to kick in. And the fact that I'd lost my career, the fact that I was just about to move to France on a very large 6-figure contract, a lot of regret, a lot of shame. And that kind of began to shift from that like huge physical battle that I was still in, but it also then started to become a mental battle. And that's when the challenge really began, mate, to be honest with you.
So to summarize, up to this point, you're 29, you're playing rugby for the Scarlets, you've got a chance to go to France on a big contract, you're still involved with a Welsh team in and out occasionally, and you've had a heart attack in the gym. They've sent you home, you're physically incapable of doing much. Doubt kicks in, you might never play rugby again, the emotions fire up. I'm guessing you're in a hole. What happened then?
Yeah, I mean, it's the only way to describe it.
How did you cope with all that?
Well, I didn't cope with it. I was absolutely distraught that I lost my career. I mean, in many ways, it kind of helped that I was so sick that I knew that there was no way back, But
how did that help, Rhys?
Because I kind of, if I was just a little bit injured, or like it was a neck injury or,
So it was certain
I
that you
still
weren't going
felt
to play
good,
again.
but like I just had a niggly injury that was preventing me from playing. Like I suppose that would have kind of been even more, I suppose, challenging, because you still believed you could perhaps. But in my case, it was game over. I couldn't even walk 10 meters, mate. Do you know what I mean? So I knew it was a wrap, but it was just that game then of just being stuck in the head, constantly just always in the past, just so much negativity and blame. And it wasn't necessarily the case, like, right, I had, when they opened my chest, I had thin artery walls on the left side of my heart. And they said like all the stress, emotional, mental, physical, it just took its toll in the end, And, but yeah, inevitably what happened was I ended up in a hole. Even with the most fantastic support network, unbelievably supportive partner, great, my kids were there, lots of friends, good family, but I just didn't know how to deal with it.
How did you deal with that significant loss, grief?
That's what it was, mate. It was exactly that. It was grief. I was grieving my career. I was grieving the life that I had. I was grieving the thought, even the process in my mind at the time was like, I was going to France. To this club on huge money, and like it was always a dream of mine, And that actually was a lot of the stuff that was really driving me into the hole. Was that like vision, that strong vision I had of like being there and experiencing all that stuff. And then to be just taken like that, but also to be torn a little bit with gratitude to still have family and friends and my kids and be alive. But slowly over time, that kind of got eroded almost, you know.
No, Rhys, before we go deeper into like those first few years after the heart attack,
Yeah.
because I know that a lot more happened. Again, what I'm fascinated with with your life is I met you about, I don't know, 15 years ago.
At least.
And I was working as a performance coach, performance coordinator for the Welsh rugby team.
Yeah.
And you were on my hit list. You know, Warren Gatland had seen potential in you. You did have talent.
Yeah.
You did have, but and I loved you actually.
Yeah.
But you also frustrated me as well because sometimes I couldn't find you. You wouldn't answer your phone.
Yeah.
And I look back at the old you, and I guess my name for you is a lovable rogue.
Yeah.
You know, you were talented, you were lovable, you loved a hug, you're always smiling, you loved the crack.
Yeah.
But you love to drink and you love to party and you love to stay up late. And sometimes I couldn't find you.
Yeah.
And then what's a miracle for me is I meet you again 13 years later. I think we reconnected about 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And you kept inquiring about coming on my retreat, my leadership retreat. And you did. And then you helped out, and then we've connected even more. And I'm seeing you as this great coach that can hold space for people. And it seems like a lot, we're not perfect, are we, Rhys? But it seems like a lot of your toxic behaviors have gone. But what I'm interested in is, after your heart attack, did you just become connected to God and everything was perfect? Or did you fall back into some of those toxic behaviors for a while?
Yeah, 100%. There was a brief period where I had like a deep amount of respect for life, for overcoming the challenges and for having the support, especially of my ex-wife. But it was brief. And then, you know, I think when the mind took over and it became very negative, very dark, I absolutely just went back into those default setting.
Did you press the fuck it button?
I absolutely pressed the fuck it button.
Talk to us about the fuck it button.
I mean, the fuck it button was pretty strong. It was, you know, in the initial years post the heart attack, so 2012 to like 2013, it was tough, mate. You know, my health was that bad. I couldn't actually have a drink. I mean, if I even tried, I would feel ill. So they actually, like, I got, by 2013, I was so sick. Literally, they said to me, listen, you're not good. Just enjoy what time you have left. Wow. This was the kind of chat we were having with the doctors, right? Wow. And which was just like soul destroying for me with a young family, right? And I just took the kids away. We went on a couple of holidays, but I was sick, mate. I couldn't walk. I didn't enjoy it. I was being sick a lot. I felt very bloated. I couldn't walk 2-3 meters.
On a lot of medication at that time.
I was on a lot of medication, but I felt like death. I felt death was close, Whitey. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was very, very like it was almost a blur because I just felt so unwell. And when they gave me literally 12 months to live then in 2013, and which was tough, right? And then they offered me an option. One option was that I needed a transplant, but I was untransplantable because I had a thing called pulmonary hypertension. So it was a pressure between my heart and lungs. It was too great. So the one thing that could potentially lower the pulmonary hypertension was a machine that they could implant into my heart, into my body, called a left ventricular assist device. And it's run externally by batteries. And I know I was 30, mate. You know, I had a young family. I didn't want to die. You know, I had a huge lust for life. And obviously I took that option. But again, that was unbelievably challenging. A huge circumstance of going back for another massive operation, a lot of scar tissue, a very complicated operation. I came through that, again, very lucky to survive. 2 weeks in a coma post-op. And when I woke up, now I have a machine that literally runs my heart. it's on me today. The batteries last 8 hours a set. You know, it runs 24 hours a day. If I don't change those batteries when they beep, then they beep for 15 minutes. And it's just a warning to shift them to the new batteries. And if I don't do that, the machine can stop.
Wow.
My heart can stop and I can die. So kind of waking up to that new reality that I'm literally now like half man, half machine.
Yeah.
And that particular instance, I was in hospital about 6 weeks pre-op in a ward in Birmingham, Queen Elizabeth, called the coronary care unit. And just an immense amount of suffering that I witnessed, mate. It was intense. Like a lot of death, a lot of people dying, a lot of fear. And when I went home from that experience, I genuinely, it was a life-shifting experience, a lot of trauma, but tremendous amounts of gratitude for life, for what I witnessed in that place. And, but again, the mind, that physical battle became a mental battle. Even with the machine now being on the heart transplant waiting list, because it did bring down my pulmonary hypertension, which meant now I could be transplanted. But then they put me on the heart transplant list. And that in itself was terrifying. Like every time my phone rang, I would be like shitting myself thinking, oh my God, is it a heart? You know? But inevitably what happened was over the course of those next weeks and months, it became dark, you know? And I went back to default setting and the fuck it button got pushed.
So the destructive patterns are still kind of, in operation.
They were underpinning it, you know, like that sensation of feeling, emotion, check out.
Yeah.
Like I need to check out at this point because it's overwhelming.
Yeah.
I can't deal with this feeling, this emotion that I'm having. This is leading to a thought process that is immensely negative. I want to check out. How do I check out? I have no coping mechanisms. I don't really have the means and communication and depth of connection with anyone or anything in my life at that point that would allow me to share vulnerably and to be honest, actually, about how I was truly feeling. So that led me to going to a process that I understood through my life that had worked for me in the past, which was amazing at escaping, numbing, soothing. And that was alcohol, mate.
Yeah.
And initially in the short term, because of my health was slow and steady return to what was now my baseline of what I would call normal. But it was about dealing with that, Whitey, you know. And at first, because I had a fluid restriction because of the state of my heart, I was limited to 2.5 liters a day, any fluid, right? So initially it was like a couple of beers. And I was like, oh, this feeling. This is a good feeling. I remember this feeling. This is nice.
And I'm guessing that you could also put a t-shirt on and put your bag on and nobody knows.
Exactly.
You know,
right.
you can connect and you connect with women and
exactly. You know, being a nightclub, and obviously I'm married, but there's still that terrible culture and kind of association to the life that I had been living up to that point. And it ultimately led to me then that increasing. You know, what was 2 pints became 3, and then I realized that was taking up too much of my fluid restriction. So then I changed from beer to alcohol, to spirits.
To spirits,
and then red wine, and that was when the real, true decline began. You know, and it wasn't like I could drink every day. I just felt too awful. But it was more like a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, mate. You know, and then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday would be severe anxiety, panic attacks, immobility. And then again, once the mind started, come Wednesday, Thursday, go to the medicine.
And I'm guessing with you, when you're out there in the social scene, you're just wearing your mask of everything's okay, the Rhys smile.
Oh yeah, all day long, hiding behind the mask of the smile, mate. You know, painting a picture.
So you went into a hole again.
Oh, massive. Huge amounts of denial, you know, thinking things are good, even though when I was out, literally putting my life in severe danger every time I was that intoxicated, because drinking spirits, because I knew, you know, if I put ice in my gin or my vodka, you know, that's extra fluid.
Yeah.
If I put a mixer in it, that's some extra fluid. So then that reduced. It became more and more potent.
Wow.
And my states became more and more unconscious, and to the point where, you know, I would just be completely blackout drunk, waking up in all sorts of holes, prison cells, hospital beds, taxis, nightclubs, streets, you know, and sadly, you know, having to get escorted, phone from the police station for my ex-partner or someone to come and collect me because, you know, I wasn't allowed to stay in there because of this, what was happening with my machine, and they wouldn't have me in the cells, you know. It was unbelievably destructive, Craig, and I can't even, you know, I was in a huge hole, but I wanted no one's help.
Yeah. All right. Moment, or was it kind of trial and error and eventually you got there? Tell us the story of transformation.
Yeah, well, the transformation began on the 1st of September in 2019.
Right.
That was what I would call my rock bottom.
Yeah.
On the back end of a weekend away with a invitational rugby team in Wales.
Wow.
We went to Exeter Chiefs for Phil Dolman's testimonial, and I was invited because at this point I was the class clown, the mascot of destruction, and that was my mask at that point, my identity, because I lost my other identity, and we had a Friday, Saturday night there, and then on the Sunday I, as would be customary at this point, not wanting the hangover to come and then the dread, had a full day on it, on the red wine, and crashed my car drunk actually in the evening, and walked away from it, and no one else was injured. But the events that followed that evening when I went home it was bad. It was really bad. As bad as it gets, really. And that was when I knew that shit is got out of hand, like maximum.
Right.
And that change needed to occur. So it began. That was the beginning of the process. Now, that's the last day I ever touched alcohol.
Right.
And it's almost just over 4.5 years now. And but 5 months later, actually, I managed to stay sober over Christmas. I went to a couple of AA meetings. Yeah. You know, it took away what I thought I needed and didn't think I needed to go back. I knew it all. I'll just implement these little steps into my life. Didn't get a sponsor, and but still having these most incredibly destructive patterns of behavior, thoughts,
anger.
But my anger was like hidden beneath. It was passive. You know, I didn't see it anger. I was just this happy-go-lucky guy. But deep amounts of anger and rage locked in me, you know. And
underneath that, of course, sadness.
Deep sadness.
Yeah.
And tremendous amounts of fear.
Yeah.
So much fear.
Yeah.
And inevitably, I went to visit a friend because I got sober over Christmas and stayed sober, which was a challenge, right? But I was white, as they call in the rooms of AA, they call it white knuckling it. And I white knuckled it over Christmas. But I cross-addicted white, you know. I was using cannabis drops.
Yeah. I
was gaming on, like, playing FIFA 12 hours a day. Like, or maybe not 12 hours, but like 8 hours a day. It was just incredibly destructive patterns of behavior. Still, you know, my attitude, my outlook of life. It was I was in a dreadful place, but wouldn't admit it. But it's like a stoic attitude. And then eventually went to visit my friend. He invited me. He'd been sober for 3 years, I think, at this point. We went as a family, me, my ex-wife and my 2 kids. And at that holiday, she told my best friend, you know, what I'd been up to, basically, even during my sobriety. Yeah. And he was absolutely fuming because I'd lied to him. I hadn't disclosed what I'd been up to. And between my ex-wife, him, two of my other friends, my dad and my brother, they staged an intervention whilst I was on the family holiday,
right,
and sent me to a rehab facility in Cape Town.
okay,
So that's where it actually began. That in that rehab facility was where I had a shift of my paradigm, a complete permission for myself to release and let go of all the bullshit, all the masks. And that was the first time I truly allowed myself to be vulnerable, which was terrifying. I was even dreaming of vulnerability, of like how scary that felt, to be able to be surrounded by strangers, you know, no matter like all ages, sexes, races, all addicts from, you know, every drug you can imagine, right?
But all of a sudden, you're not on your own, right?
Exactly.
You're with a team again.
Like-minded. And all of them speak of their suffering.
Yeah.
And through that thread, no matter what the drug, no matter what the circumstance, no matter what their life, we were all exactly the same way.
So is that familiarity of being in a team what created a safe environment for you to let it out and feel again?
Seeing their courage, their vulnerability, their sadness, their, you know, where they had been, their life-changing, life-threatening situations they were putting themselves in, and the regret, shame, and remorse that they held in their hearts for their behavior. Like it almost wasn't them that was acting this way and playing out these repetitive, addictive cycles of destruction, you know, self-sabotaging behaviors. And it was just so liberating, like to be with these people in a group of like-minded people that made me feel safe in the body, that feel that I could be safe to speak my truth, to be completely transparently honest and say about all the horrible, dark shit that I had carried with me, all my deepest, darkest secrets that I had buried. And the more honest and the more vulnerable and the more transparent that we were together as a group through that intensive group and one-to-one therapy of educating, of watching other people do the same thing, through practice, through, you know, it was just unbelievably transformational. But also like, it was like lifting
a relief,
It was like taking the physical sensation I can express to you, Craig, was literally like taking a rucksack that was like 50 kilo and you've been carrying it your whole life, right? It was like a relief. Like I didn't have to continue being this fake bullshit person, and that I could actually just embrace who I truly was in this little container, being held by like professionals, but also by other people that I didn't have to explain the way I felt or my behaviors. They just understood me. It was unbelievable, mate.
Hallelujah.
Yeah. I had some sort of awakening.
Yeah.
And, you know, at the time, there was talk of, you know, God and this and that. And everyone was like, no chance. You know, so, and I had this recovery assistant, you know, they were like assistants, and they just said to me, just think of it like this right now. Just think of God, good, orderly direction. And they said like, you know, if you just use it as like just to bounce off how you're feeling. And like, that's, you know, for me, that was so powerful, mate, because it allowed me through my desperation just to begin to ask for help.
Yeah.
Outside of me.
Yeah.
Looking outward for help, but also at the same time looking inward, but being completely honest with where I was and meeting myself at that point as well.
How long were you in the rehab center for?
28 days.
28 days. And what then? What happened next?
Well, then the reality of going home hit, which I had quite a bit of anxiety about, obviously given the state and the reality of my behavior for the last, you know, never mind my career. And those years of being low and being in this dark place, but then also my destructive, worst of my alcoholism for those 3 years with the state of health that I was in, that put my family and especially my children and my ex-wife it was horrendous.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I had to go home and own that. But at the time things were bad. I mean, there's no sugarcoating it, Craig. I caused destruction, utter destruction and trauma in my family, right? And the reality was I couldn't change my deepest behaviors, those deeply ingrained patterns of behavior overnight. Even though I had a transformational kind of awakening within this rehab center, there were still deeply ingrained behaviors, beliefs, limiting beliefs of myself, but of the way I also saw, although my perception had changed, still the way I communicated even, right? So that was really challenging. But the universe began to align for me. You know, my ex-wife took a stand, and actually, even though, because it was going to take time for me to change properly, you know, fully, a lot of still old behaviors. And she made the decision to let me get on with this on my own, which I believe was absolutely the right thing to do. Yeah. And it was probably the greatest lesson for me as well. And
that's courageous from her, right? To
absolutely.
do that.
You know, an act of self-love on her behalf. Yeah. But also in many ways.
And setting you free as well.
And this began to do that. And then I had this burning desire deep within me, Craig, to want to change, to want to be a much better father, to be a much better partner, and just to be a better man.
Yeah.
I felt that the way that I had lived my life up to that point was so wholly out of alignment with who I truly was, with my authentic self, with my higher values. But I didn't even know what the hell that word meant, mate. You know, we hear about these things when we're growing up, but there was no association or attachment to any belief system or moral compass, especially through the culture that I was brought up through and with, right?
Yeah.
So it was just wild. And the universe really kicked my ass too when I came out. That karmic effect, you know, my ex-wife, my partner left me. I lost my insurance money, speaking my truth on a podcast, which I just felt this burning desire to share, to speak about wow, I saw the world in a different light. And actually I'm going to share my experience of the darkness I experienced and my series of circumstance that actually have made me see things very differently, actually. And in doing so...
Just pause for a second. It's interesting, Rhys, isn't it? When you make a deep, felt, genuine decision to change, life will say, all right then, go on. Vroom, vroom, vroom. Off you go.
And a vision.
Yeah.
And at that point, it wasn't a strong vision, but a deep knowing that I wanted to be a better man. I wanted to change. Like I said, better father, partner, friend, son. And just that, at that point, with a belief in myself and that someone else other than me, the universe, whatever you want to call it, was going to help me do it. But to do that, it stripped me down naked, mate.
Yeah,
it stripped me naked.
Yeah.
Partner left me. A 16-year relationship, 11-year marriage. Lost my money from my insurance. Went from a very substantial amount of money a month for free, tax-free till I was 65.
Wow.
To boom. Zero. I had to sign on to Universal Credit.
Wow.
No job. Never had a job in my life other than rugby.
Yeah.
So the world basically, you know, the karma, the universe said to me, right, you know, here's a clean slate. Go and create.
Do what you said you're going to do.
Go and create. And because I knew this time, I knew the way that I had lived to that point was wholly out of alignment with actually who I truly was.
Yeah.
And I was at this point working to understand and believe in who I truly was, accepting myself, loving myself, but also seeing the way the way I wanted to show up in the world, you know? And a lot of that was about making amends actually to the way that I'd behaved, the trauma I had caused. And knowing that the only way I can change it, words are not going to be sufficient for this task.
Yeah.
Because the amount of sorries that I had chucked out, that word meant fuck all.
Yeah,
it meant nothing.
Yeah.
It meant nothing.
Yeah.
So only action was going to do it at this point. And I knew action was going to take dedication, discipline, and consistency. And without that, everything that I am wishing to do is not worth a word of saying it. So there was no promises. I had to make amends, of course. I did make apologies, heartfelt, sincere, genuine apologies. I wrote letters to my loved ones. But then I also knew that from now, I have to set a value system. What are my values? Connecting to that.
And are you exploring all this on your own? Are you working with a therapist at the time?
So I was working with an amazing, actually, addiction therapist.
Right.
An amazing guy called Adrian. He lived in Bristol. Just a truly amazing man. And I was also working with the 12 Steps of Recovery with AA.
Yeah.
I had a sponsor, and his name was Adrian too, so I had two Adrians who fell into my life. And that was also beautiful, the whole process. I don't still work with the 12 steps today.
Yeah.
But what an amazing experience. Just even doing the 12 steps, even if you weren't an alcoholic, very revealing.
Yeah.
And so those two things were very, very helpful, especially in my infancy, to give me a foundation, also to look back, not just shut down what had happened before, but actually to look deeply into it, reflecting without judgment, but just also looking at and owning what I had done. But then also inquiring into why maybe was the reason. How far back were these cycles of destruction actually relevant? And when were they starting to show up in my life? And that in itself was an incredibly revealing practice.
Yeah, of course.
Because this had been happening
with the therapist,
and also in rehab, actually. We had to write out our whole life from when you first touched a substance.
Yeah.
How did you use the substance? Did you use it in what kind of way? Like what level of would you go to? And it was my whole life from like the first time I touched substance at a very young age, it was just these, whatever I put my mind to, I would succeed. I was gifted in many ways, especially athletically, which also led to the lack of commitment, and aptitude in those areas. What's the saying? Hard work beats talent when talent fails to work hard. And that was the case for me in many ways, right? But self-sabotage then. So it was very revealing. And then through that process, it kind of led me to wanting to dig deeper, because I still had this innate feeling within me, Craig, that there was this pain, like a deeper, like a suffering that I hadn't scratched the itch. It was deep within me, right? And that's when, after that, that therapy, I started to look. I think there's got to be more. I can't just sit in these rooms of AA, listening to these stories. Albeit it's very helpful and it gives those people connection and feeling like a like-minded community and sitting in circle. With my earliest experience, actually, of being in a circle.
Yeah.
But I thought, I don't want to continually repeat my behaviors of the past, but also listen to other people's war stories. Because all I'm doing is I'm reaffirming the behavior, that pattern of behavior, who I am no longer. And also saying the words, I'm Rhys, I'm an alcoholic. Yeah. Actually, I'm not an alcoholic anymore.
Of course.
Albeit I was very short into my sobriety at this point. But I knew that I wanted to delve deeper, because I had that longing. I wanted to just understand mind, body, spirit. I had a deep desire and curiosity, actually, about what is life? Who is with this speck in the universe? There's so much more depth that I don't understand. And this curiosity, consciousness, and the spirit and the mind-body connection. So then that's when I really went into it and did some of the more deep work. I did some somatic type therapies, EMDR, NLPs, and that was incredibly transformational, I must add. And also went back to my childhood and really dug out the stuff that was in there with my life, some of that developmental trauma which was very releasing. And then when I thought I was healed, which is quite ironic and funny, right? Because I was probably about 2.5 years sober then when you reached out to me after being my coach and always wanting to help me, and could see that that person was within me, even back in my rugby career, but I was just not ready at all, right?
Yeah.
And then you came in and said, why don't you come on one of my retreats? I thought, oh, Craig's a great guy. I mean, this sounds interesting. And I'm at this point where I'm curious. You know, why not go and have a little look at what this can unfold and what it can offer me. And then that was just like...
Took you a while though, didn't it?
Oh God, yeah, of course. I mean, there was still that bit of hesitancy, mate, you know? But like, honestly, Craig, I can't tell you, like, obviously going there and come into your retreat and then feeling that level of connection and brotherhood and going into that depth, being held by other men. Oh God, it was so powerful. But at the practices though was new to me. Like at that point, I'd never done anything somatic. I'd have never done yoga or Osho meditation or Tai Chi. And then obviously the game changer for me at your retreat was the breathwork. And that's what led me to be in this situation and position I am today as a breathwork practitioner, was the transformational experience that I had at the back end of that retreat, which was in itself transformational.
What did the breathwork help you with? You know, obviously it's becoming trending now to do breathwork, isn't it? But people do it for obvious reasons. It works, right?
Yeah, it bloody works.
But what did it help you with in that retreat?
Wow. I think because it was like the final day, right?
Yeah.
It was the final day.
But we'd done bits of it leading up to that.
Yeah, every day was that. This is what I loved about the way that in which the retreat was held, was that it was a coming home to the body. It was a reconnecting to the heart. Coming out of the mind. And it's done in a way where it's not really, you're not telling us what to do. You're allowing us the opportunity to feel into the body, to reconnect to the feelings, the emotions. And in itself, just the movement, because we become so, like you, and you know, you say this all the time, we become so linear, Craig. You know, we end up sitting for long periods of time, or we do the same repetitive exercises and trainings. We don't really look too far out of the box of you know, you know, our conscious awareness for what we believe may be effective for us in movement and stuff. So, yeah, you know, that checking in with the body, you know, connecting to breath, and every day becoming more open, building that trust, that safety in the body, the nervous system just being really in a good place. And then boom, hitting you with that breathwork session. And it was, for me, all the therapy I'd done, and I had done a tremendous amount. You know, I'm talking about dedicated journaling daily, gratitude lists, being in nature, like deeply immersed in the dedication and discipline for me to want to show up in this world for my family. So obviously that was my why, which was my children initially, and then over the last couple of years, definitely myself as well. But being wholly committed to that cause, you know. And when, you know, all of those endeavors were unbelievably transformational, but then the breathwork was the most different experience that I'd had, because it was completely internal. And I'd struggled with the kind of visual side of things before, and going into the body, like having that access to my deeper unconscious, suppressed emotions and feelings. And just from being super present, connecting with the breath, being guided by an amazing breathwork coach, and that container that was created by you and the facilitators allowed me the safety within my body and my nervous system to connect to the breath, to be present, and to go deep, deep, deep within the body, into the unconscious, and to tap into what I had held on to and repressed for so long, I didn't even know it was there. And it was just a deep release, cathartic release. And it was it was a game changer, Craig. It was a game changer. I remember driving home in just like I was high. I was like, I can remember the drive home. I can still feel it, like that excitement about life, or what I knew was coming. And it was just from that point, I knew I could see a vision of where I was going. And literally almost immediately, I started training breathwork straight afterwards.
Because you felt it, right?
Oh, I knew.
So tell us what happened after that then.
After the retreat?
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
leading up to where you are now.
So, I mean, obviously in the early days, coming out of rehab, I wanted to make impact. I wanted to leave legacy. Now, I didn't know how long I had on this earth, but I had made peace with that too. You know, I'd accepted my fear. It's still with me, but I embrace it. You know, there's no more running or numbing or soothing. I sit with it, I feel it. But then I also understand that if it's my time, it's my time. You know, but to make the absolute most of every second I have on this earth left, I will utilize and not be driven from a place of fear. So lent into that. And I started a charity my friend founded it, but then when we met up, we've grown it to what it is today, 3.5 years established, mental health and wellbeing charity, which started as a Facebook online group.
What's the name of that, Rhys?
Tidy But.
Yeah.
So it's established in South Wales.
Yeah.
You know, we're everything from education to corporate at the moment. And it's been beautiful work, Craig, you know, in many ways. Also incredibly challenging and time consuming.
Yeah.
But also speaking my truth, you know, telling people about my experience, my life, my transformation. And that was very raw when I started, you know. And obviously challenging, speaking publicly. And but the more I've lent into that and become familiar with it and confident and worked with a coach, you know, I do a lot of corporate talks now, and it's great. It's amazing. I love doing it. It's I feel it's a real passion of mine. And after the retreat, you know, I had these two elements, and obviously they're evolved and a lot more polished now after working with coaches and stuff like that. But the breath work is where it came, and I just was like, this is it, you know, like this is what I'm meant to do, kind of thing, you know. Yeah. So I studied with that with a beautiful teacher,
Steph
Magenta, and Dr. Ray Rodell, and with 7 directional breathwork, amazing, and just lent into that and doing, and then also wanting that need to want to give back and mentor and help people was then with coaching. You know, mentoring, coaching, I don't know, you know, I'm still stuck between what to actually call that work. But yeah, so the breath work was kind of the tool then that I wanted to utilize to help people to reconnect. And then more and more seeing the power within somatic work, with that reconnection to mind-body connection, just a greater self-awareness, to that felt sense, to being able to connect with our emotions and feelings without the need to numb, soothe, or escape, and how actually important that is, and how important somatic work is in connecting us back to that felt sense and getting us out of here, because this is where the mind and its stories can really hold us back from our true potential.
Yeah, the bridge is such a beautiful, the breath is such a beautiful bridge, isn't it? From the head to the heart, from the cognitive to the feeling.
Yeah. And I mean, I do it every day in some capacity, whether it's to down-regulate or up-regulate. And, you know, I hold breathes on a regular basis, and just in awe of the potential of the transformational potency that certain techniques within breathwork can unravel within a person, you know. Yeah. And so, yeah, this is where we are, Craig, right now, you know, and it just never stops evolving. Like, you know, I just went on a course last week in Manchester to do some myofascial release with an amazing teacher called Nasaga. I mean, I'm not going to try and say his surname right now. Yeah. But wow, just wow. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
I'm in my infancy in this learning, so
Yeah.
I'm not going to go too delve.
But you're holding space for breathwork sessions now, aren't you?
Absolutely. Yeah.
How's that going?
Oh, amazing, mate. Amazing. You know, just the growth. And for me, it's just, again, you know, tapping back into being authentic, Craig, you know, because there's always that, my ego's kind of itch to want to try and, this guy's doing amazing things, that guy's doing amazing things. Obviously, I'm keeping, you know, once you're in the community, you're looking what other people are doing and then, you know, the kind of creativity and things that people are bringing to the game. But, you know, for me, it's just about constantly checking in with myself and just being me. And being me is all that I need to do. And keep showing up, keep being open, keep, you know, keep learning, and then just holding space for others with this wonderful practice.
What a journey, Rhys.
Oh, man. Isn't life good?
What a journey. The rehab center was a big awakening for you. You'd gone home, struggles, life presents you with rawness. You feel like you're on your own. You connect with the therapy, you do some great therapy, work through this 12 steps, opens you up to a greater sense of meaning in life. You do some somatic practices, you reconnect with me, you come on our retreat, you come back and help. You go out there into the world and you become a student again, and now you're holding space as a speaker and a breathwork coach and a mentor, because you are a mentor, because you've got a story to tell. And wow, what an incredible transformation. You could have been dead now.
Easily.
Or I could have been
Hundreds of
talking
times.
to the lovable rogue, pretending that everything was going to be okay. But I talk to you and I believe you now, and I trust you, and you tell the truth. You're not a bullshitter. What's the next year look like for you in all aspects of your life?
Yeah. So, I mean, you know, in most part, Craig, because of, you know, you and the beautiful experience that I've had with Men Without Masks, you know, I've also lent into going into the space of men's work myself.
It's great to see.
And created a retreat called The Warrior's Path. And we had
Talk about the guys who are helping you with that, because they're quite interesting characters and inspirational characters.
Very interesting. So we actually teamed up with two ex-internationals as well, in Joe van Niekerk, ex-Springbok and Toulon captain. He's at multiple other clubs as well, of course. And Rory Lamont, ex-Scottish international, Glasgow, Toulon. And all three of us, very similar destructive behaviors that played out in different ways. Addiction, health issues, some of us real terrible health issues actually. But all of us been through this process of awakening and enlightenment and back to
tough guys or stereotypical tough guys that have been on a journey and now talk about feelings and love and connection.
I know, right?
I love it, Rhys. I love it.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing.
I know. So
to see that transformation in guys like that.
You know, it's so beautiful to be, you know, with men that have been in those cultures.
Yeah.
But then completely transformed. Exactly. Back to heart-led men. In the true essence of the divine masculine.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And that in itself, with that level of integrity that the three of us have held, and to create a space of the Warrior's Path, we had our first retreat in Rory Lamont's got a retreat center in the Highlands of Scotland in Perthshire. Beautiful, beautiful place called Kayem, where he holds his own offerings all the time. And we had our first retreat up there, and it was beautiful, Craig.
You got another one coming up soon, right?
We have in August this year.
Great.
Yeah. So
what can the audience find out about that?
Either on our social medias, on Instagram.
The Warrior Path?
The Warrior's Path.
The Warrior's Path, yeah.
So it's the three of us will be facilitating with the help of other co-facilitators, beautiful men. And we'll be bringing this work to whoever is willing to step into.
And what
the
about
space.
your breathwork stuff and your speaking?
Yeah, so my speaking, predominantly I get my work through LinkedIn. So Rhys Thomas on LinkedIn. And on Instagram is predominantly where you'll see a lot of my breath offerings.
Great.
Obviously, you can work with me on a one-to-one basis, which of course I do. But yeah, I do a lot of group breathes, especially South Wales. I'm looking to get into Bristol shortly. But I will also actually be moving back to Cape Town, Craig, potentially in September for the pursuit of a heart transplant.
Wow.
Which, is a journey that's yet to unfold. So yeah.
Wonderful. How are you feeling about that, mate?
I feel hopeful.
Yeah.
I feel hopeful.
Will you go back alone, or will Kerry go with you as well?
Yeah. So Kez. So she's hoping to come with. She is coming with. So
great.
Yeah, together we're going to navigate that. Obviously, with the kids coming to visit me as often as possible.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a decision I've come to lightly, mate. At the end of the day, you know what I mean. It's been a big decision to leave my support network. But I've been on the list for 8 years here, mate. You know.
Yeah, of course.
So you have to be. The decision I've come to is to be proactive. I think in my endeavors to pursue this heart, because the options aside from this, you know, may not be that favorable.
And I know you've been for a while raising funds for a potential heart attack. Is that still happening?
Yeah. So
what can people contribute if they want to?
Yeah. So we've actually finished the fundraising, and it was amazing. Like, we had so much support. I'm going to be announcing this in the weeks to come when I actually solidify my plans to move, which is still slightly up in the air at this point. Is once that is confirmed, which there's a lot going on. We did manage to raise about £135,000.
Amazing.
Which was incredible, right? So much support. And I'm so grateful for all of those people for supporting me in that pursuit. But it's ended up moving potentially to Cape Town to do that, you know.
Yeah.
The dream was to go to the States, because their transplant system have an abundance of organs, sadly. Because of the opioid and fentanyl crisis there and the amount of overdose, which is incredibly sad. But the opportunity there, but albeit that it's financially incredibly expensive to join their list.
Right. Okay.
So yeah, I find it quite, you know, apt that potentially going back to the land of my birth, to be rebirthed, with another human's heart.
What a story, eh?
That'll be the new beginnings.
Yeah,
Craig.
Yeah, for sure.
With the heart memory of another brother.
Yeah.
That is
amazing.
Yeah, it's going to be. I'm very excited by the prospect.
Good for you, mate.
Of what that recovery will look like.
Yeah.
And prepared for every challenge and eventuality.
Yeah.
That's to come from that.
Wonderful. What a story, Rhys. What a life.
Well, thank you for brother. You've been absolutely one of the pivotal forces in helping me to transform and to be definitely in most part the man that I am today.
Thank you, mate.
No, truly, honestly,
Appreciate that.
I'm truly grateful for you, brother.
Thank you. Rhys, a final message for any man and any woman, to be honest, that are in a hole.
Yeah.
Keep falling back into that hole. Keep repeating destructive behaviors. What message do you have for those people out there?
The change is possible, Craig. You know, and you know, I lost a friend last week to suicide, and it's. Now I work in a mental health and wellbeing charity, Craig, and the biggest killer of men under 54 in the UK is suicide. It's deeply saddening. It hurts my heart, and you know, in my experience, you know, no matter how bad, no matter how dark, how destructive our behaviors are, and how they are becoming, knowing that change is possible and that you are never alone. There are literally millions of people in the exact same position you are, thinking the same thoughts.
Yeah.
And we've never had so much information at our fingertips as we do right now, Craig. And no matter your level of abundance, wealth-wise, there's groups out there, whether they're free, whether it's a men's walking group, whether it's a women's walking group, whether it's a women's, like there's loads of these cold dip, open water groups that have been established, which are creating amazing amounts of community, of connection, of belonging. And so it's really just using these phones that we spend so much time on to actually for the benefit of your own good, to create a more healthy ecosystem for you to create a greater amount of healthy connection. Yeah. And it can be very simple. Sometimes it's just inquiring on your internet in your surrounding area of something that does like a walking group or a cold water group or maybe a choir. Yeah. Or an expressive art, pottery. And maybe joining a jiu-jitsu club. Or yoga. Or going and doing a breathwork session. You're like, it's out there, Craig.
Community heals, right?
Oh, connection and community heals everything. It has the potential to shift any perception. By feeling fully held, seen and heard.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
So sometimes it is terribly hard, Craig. There's no sugarcoating it, right? When you're in that pit of the mind, and that is where I believe hell is. When you're in a negative mind frame and you're in the mind constantly, that is hell.
Yeah, and the last thing you want to do is reach out, isn't it?
Of course, because you feel you're a burden. You're not you're not good enough. You're a terrible man. You've done terrible things, or you're a terrible, woman. You've done terrible things, and you're not worthy of this life. But you absolutely are. You're an absolute shining pillar. You're a beautiful being of so much immense value. So ask for help. And if that doesn't necessarily mean, doing certain types of therapy, it can just mean about connection.
Of course.
At a simplest level.
Yeah. Thanks, mate. Thanks for coming. Looking forward to spending the day with you.
Yes.
And
having a boogie.
Yes, we might have a boogie. We're going to a friend of ours, his 40th birthday party, so we could be dancing later. Oh. Shirking a few moves around.
Sober dancing as well, Craig.
Sober dancing. And just to wrap up, Rhys, I know you've touched on it, but just tell the audience again where they can find more information about you and your work. Yeah,
so... my Instagram handle is Rhys Thomas 33, Rhys _ Thomas 33. LinkedIn, just Rhys Thomas. Or look on the internet. My website's realrhysthomas.com.
Nice. Well, I'm so happy that I'm sat with the real Rhys Thomas, because the Rhys Thomas I met was half real, half mask.
Yeah.
We've all been there, haven't we?
Indeed.
It continues. We continue to peel off the masks and reveal more potential. And it's a magical journey, isn't it, Rhys?
Truly.
And it's such an honor to be with you. I've really enjoyed this conversation, and I look forward to the next time we have a conversation. We've already been speaking, haven't we, about doing a podcast and having a chat about toxic masculinity within professional sport. Which we will come back to at some stage.
Oh, that's a good one.
So for now, I hope you've enjoyed this podcast interview, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.